My name is Lawrence Ingram, and I own Standard Skate Company. It's been a long 3 years. So we started this project 3 years ago with initial drawings, and it's been a roller coaster of learning. There were so many things that I didn't know we had to do in order to get this project off the ground. This is a huge undertaking, and I don't think that most skate companies come to market with this many new things, this many little decisions that we've had to make. Every little aspect of Standard has been considered, and there were a lot of things to consider, from custom hardware for mounting a sole plate to a boot, from custom mounting hardware to hold that sole plate to the boot. Little things like that took design, took testing, took 3D printing, and those are things that many companies just kind of mail in. They don't think about how this will impact a skater. While testing the liners, we discovered that the material that we were using to keep your heel from lifting inside the boot was actually causing some noise. So we changed that material from something that would still do the job, but now it was a quiet material, because for us, a silent skate is super important. I didn't realize that there were so many things that we needed to think about with developing this. So the name Standard comes from my experience testing different skates. I found so many great things out there, from shock absorbers to wheel development to frame design to sole plates, that I felt should be standard on all skates. So that's where the name came from, and that's the foundation of what we're trying to do here. So with Standard, we have the luxury of starting from scratch with everything. Each of our molds is completely new, which means we don't have any of the baggage of any other brand. It's a completely new shell, new cuff, new frame, new sole plate. We can do everything right the first time based on experience that we've got from reviewing every other skate on the market. I'd already been making frames for a few years. With 50/50 and with Compass, we've worked with a factory that already does injection molding. They already make frames, so we've been working with them to bring those to market. The factory asked me, we were making a lot of frames, and they asked me, do you ever want to make a skate? And of course, that's always the dream of any skater, make your own skate the way that you want it. So we started talking about that. That was a few years back. And putting together ideas, if we were to make a skate, what would make it different? How would we do it? So we sent them some drawings from different angles of what we would like the skate to look like. And then we gave them a list of things that we wanted to make sure that we kept in mind. And we started with the boot itself. The boot was kind of the foundation of what we were trying to build. Everything else comes off of making that boot perfect to start with. They would send over drawings. I was able to open them in the systems that I use to design frames. And I was able to see them and kind of visualize, are they off? Is it fairly close? The big unlock was 3D printing. I had been very heavy into 3D printing for frame development. And while they're not strong enough to skate, they were perfect for getting a good representation of what that product would look like when it came out of the mold. We used that concept of rapid prototyping for 3D printers and transitioned it over to boots. So I was able to take the files that they would send from the factory, convert them over to a printable file, and within 48 hours, I would have a shell that I could hold in my hands and confirm that it looked the way that it wanted to and it fit the way that it was supposed to. After we had the physical 3D prints of the boots, we were able to try them on and offer feedback so that they could tweak that shell to fit more feet. I took the samples and I covered them in camouflage tape, and I brought them to an event and asked my followers on Instagram to come by the booth and try on the skate. And I said, what's your shoe size? What's your foot size? Here's a liner. Put this on and tell me where you have any pressure points. And we measured about 12 people, I think, at that event. And we had a really good idea whether this shell was going to work and what areas we needed to tweak. We used this feedback, we sent it to the factory, and we went through multiple revisions testing different feet to make sure that they fit really nicely in our shell. Few millimeters here, a few millimeters there, open up the toe, expand the heel, little areas that in the past we found that skates sometimes had pressure points or pinch points. And we finally got to a point where we were really happy with the way that it fit. We sent that final file out to the factory. They started the molds, and 60 days later, we had a physical shell from a mold that we could actually skate. Not only are there shells, but we have to have cuffs that match. We have to have sole plates left and right that will match, plus the frames that need to go with the shells. Molds are extremely expensive. And when you're making a boot shell, it's 2 molds for each shell. There's the internal and the external. So making changes to that is a really difficult process. The list goes on and on. This is a big investment, but we're feeling extremely confident that we can bring something unique that people are going to love. I'm extremely excited to get Standard out to the market. Not only have I worked with a lot of shops, I've listened with a lot of shops. I know what they need. Skaters now expect to be able to make their skates however they want. We've built Standard with this in mind, so that it is a future-proof design for skaters to use for years to come. So this is our first line, the new Standard skate. This is the black version. We're also coming out with a white version. It'll be available in a lot of different configurations. So most people will buy it stock, which includes our comfort liner and our aggressive frame. But if you choose, you can get it completely barren. So this is the shell only, so it does not come with a liner, does not come with frames. We're going to make this available at all the shops as well as our shop here at Balance Distribution. With the first Standard launch, we have 4 shell sizes, spanning from a size 40 all the way up to a size 46. With 4 shell sizes, we can cover most skaters. Now, we're not going to be able to cover everyone at launch, but we're trying to get as many people on our skates as possible. With the 4 shells that we have at launch, we should be able to cover a size 39 all the way up to a 46, which translates from a 6 US to a 12 US. With these 4 shell sizes, it's important that we make sure that every skater gets the shell that they want. With less and less skate shops out there, it's hard to go into a store and try on the skates. So we worked really hard to make it easy for people to try on our skates anywhere in the world. We developed a sizing chart which uses the internal measurements of our shells, and we have it in a printable PDF. You can print out the chart at home, put it on the floor, and step on it, and see which shell fits you best. We've also got an outline that shows where our stock liner is. So a lot of people out there love the liners that they already have. Maybe they have some high-end performance liners that they want to continue using. We don't want you to buy things that you're not going to need. So if you plan on using your existing liners, our shell breaks will show you where the internal measurements are, so you can place your liner on that printout and see which shell break is right for you. Now, I couldn't do all of this alone. I needed to get help from other skaters that I trusted. And I was very fortunate to have friends in the industry who were skaters who brought something special that I couldn't possibly do. From design to photography to product development at a level that I'm not able to skate. Testing things for me is very different than a pro skater testing things. So I've been very fortunate to work with a group of skaters that really bring something unique to the table. There are so many moving parts, and it would be so easy to get overwhelmed. You know, I am just one guy. I've had to reallocate my time. There was a time when I was doing a video every week, and I stopped doing weekly videos in December, knowing that this project was going to take priority this year. I'm going to be thrilled that I did it, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have this amazing skate that I can show, and I can say in 20 years when I walk into a skate shop and they have it on the wall and it's under the spotlights and I can remember the good old times, it's going to be amazing, but it's definitely been a lot of sacrifice this year. This is much more involved than designing a frame or designing a wheel or anything like that. There are so many things that I do well, but there's so many things that I don't do well enough. So asking for help, asking friends to assist with design, to make sure that I've got somebody who will tell me when I'm wrong. I find that, especially with skating, you want to surround yourself with people who are going to be uplifting, who are going to encourage you and say, oh, you got this. But for this project, I needed people to say, no, that's wrong. You need to do it this way. Or I'm going to be honest with you, you're doing it wrong. You need to go in a different direction. I feel like being humble, being able to ask for help, and being vulnerable, saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. Can you help me? And in turn, having friends who will help you, having a reputation of somebody who puts out, kindness in the world and gets it back when he needs it. I think that's going to be the most memorable thing from this, for sure. I would love nothing more than Standard to be at the same level as the big skate companies. I don't think we'll ever be as big as the big box brands selling the fitness skates with a dozen SKUs. I think we're going to stay focused on doing what we love to do. From the beginning, Standard has tried to be an extremely inclusive brand. We want people from all styles of skating, all backgrounds, all groups to feel comfortable skating our skates. I think there's been brands in the past that were designed for a specific style of skater, and Standard is for everyone. We want you to skate your skates however you skate, and we're going to do our best to make products that cover a wide variety of disciplines so that you can skate these however you want, wherever you want, whoever you are.